Okay, so number 5, we're going to look at the unit circle, and we're going to try to find the degrees, the radians, and the coordinates at A, B, and C. So let's first look at point A. So point A is right here. And what we know the unit circle, we know that this point is going to be, so it's 3, 2, 1, so it's root 3 over 2 and 1/2, where it's a positive x and a negative y value because it's in the fourth quadrant. So it'll be root 3 over 2 and negative 1/2. So the degrees, we want to know how much did it travel to go all the way around and stop here, which we know of being short of a full rotation by 30 degrees. So this is going to be 330 degrees. And 330 degrees in radians, you can have it memorized from the unit circle. Okay, and the reference angle on that is going to be right here at pi over 6. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So you can get 11 pi over 6. Some of you already have this memorized as far as what it looks like. Now, if you didn't have the speed with that, you could always do what we did last unit of converting the degrees to a radian by multiplying by the pi over 180 ratio. Okay? So that means you would have pi and the degrees would cancel, and then you just reduce what is 330 over 180. So to know that you can divide both by 30, would leave a 6 on the bottom and would leave an 11 on top. So you can do that, but it's best to just have it memorized. And then the coordinates are going to be those 2 points here, which are root 3 over 2 and a negative 1/2. So this is just unit circle memorization pretty much. And then we're going to list the ratios as far as what they will be for the 6 trigonometric functions on this unit circle using x and y. Okay, and also r here in just a bit. Alright, so B. If I'm locating B on the unit circle now, let me erase the other stuff. I want to know what is the degree, what is the radian, and what is the point right here. Okay, so the degree, I know I'm going to travel 90 degrees to get there, and then another 45, or if I have it memorized, it's going to be at 135 degrees. Okay, the reference angle that this one is referring to is at pi over 4. And it takes 1, 2, 3 of them to get to B. So there's 3 pi's over 4. Again, remember, these are those reference angle pieces right here, pi over 6, and right here, pi over 4, that we use quadrant 1 to pretty much figure out all the other quadrants. Okay? So we have our point, and it's going to be, here we go, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, all over 2, square root the top. And then it's a negative x, positive y. So my point is going to be a negative root 2 over 2 and a positive root 2 over 2. Okay, now C, degrees-wise, is 90, 180, 270. It's 3 chunks of 90 degrees. So you have 270 degrees. Otherwise, pi over 2, 2 pi over 2, and 3 pi over 2, which is our angle in radians. Last but not least, the coordinate is at 0 for an x value and negative 1 for a y, so you would get the following. Now, if I want to list the ratios for the 6 trigonometric functions on the unit circle using values of x and y, I would say that sine of theta is y. I would say that cosine of theta is x. I would say that tangent of theta is y over x. And now we're going to say that the flip of sine cosine, which is cosecant, is 1 over y. Okay? The flip of cosine is secant, which is the 1 over x, otherwise the reciprocal of x. And then cotangent, it would be x over y. Now what we're doing with this is, let's say that I asked you, what is the sine of 330 degrees? Let's say we were looking at that. All you would do is find the y value, which is right here. So the sine would be negative 1/2. If I asked you to find the tangent, let's say at 135 degrees, you look at 135, and the tangent's the y value over the x, so it would be this y value over this x value, which if I did the math on that, it'd be y divided by the x. Some of you probably cringe when you see something like that. And since you don't have a calculator, we're going to do a little practice with it. It would be the top divided by the bottom, which you learned in like 5th grade. Keep, change, flip, as far as multiplying these. And you could see right now that this would reduce to 1, this would reduce to 1, and because of the fact that you have this negative, my answer would in fact be a negative 1. So at 135, it'd be a negative 1. Quick shortcut, and then this video is done. At the pi over 4s, if I looked at either this 135 degrees or this one way over here, which is at, let's see, 45 plus a 270, which is at 315 degrees, my equation of the line is y equals negative x. And y equals mx plus b tells me that my slope, either here or here, would be a negative 1, which makes sense. That looks like a line with a negative 1 slope. And yes, you guessed it, quadrant 3 and quadrant 4, if I'm looking at those 45 degrees, and I asked you, let's say at this 45, or let's say here at 225 degrees, if I asked you the tangent, I'm just asking you what is the slope. What is the slope? It is y equals x, which has a positive 1 coefficient, so your shortcut on those would be a positive 1.